Everyone else is so self-centered. We're concerned about what we look like. I don't really think that we should be overly concerned about what other people are thinking of us. Americans, humans in general, I think Americans more so than any other country, are very obsessed with how quickly results come. It doesn't really matter how we get there, we just want them pretty immediately. If I turn on my phone, I can get pretty much any answer that I want within seconds. And so as great as this is, as much as this has advanced our ability to learn and acquire information, it's also increased our chances of, number one, being misinformed, and number two, our desire to get everything immediately. And so I'm sure we all know, or have even fallen victim ourselves. As that individual, we've got a big event coming up. I would say the biggest one would be a wedding, and we want to either fit in our wedding tux or our wedding dress, and then we pull the extreme diet for the next 3 or 4 weeks, just so we can fit in whatever outfit we want. I'll start on the mean side of things. When I come to your wedding, I really don't care what you look like, and I don't think anyone else does. So maybe just assure yourself that really no one's really looking at you, and no one's looking at you saying, oh my God, like she's in that dress, or man, that suit does not fit him. Everyone else is so self-centered. We're concerned about what we look like. I don't really think that we should be overly concerned about what other people are thinking of us. Just an aside, because now I'm out on a branch and I'm just gonna talk. Have we ever noticed that when on social media people post about someone's wedding and how thankful they were to be a part of that wedding, it's always a picture of them and their spouse and never of the people actually in the wedding? I mean, if that doesn't tell you how narcissistic we are as a society, I don't think anything will. So number one, the next time you see someone post about someone else's wedding and it's a picture of only them, call them out in the comments for being a narcissistic jackass. Number two, now if you are that person up on the stage getting married, you can be self-assured knowing that I don't really care about you and your spouse, I care about me and my spouse. Now I'll come back to what I was actually talking about, and I've already forgotten what I was. Okay, yeah, all right. Caloric deficit, right? So we're gonna go in extreme caloric deficit because I need to look pretty for everyone else. We're handsome, and so we starve ourselves for the next however many weeks. There is a time and place for individuals to be dropping into such a caloric deficit, and that is in sport only. Anything else, it's just not healthy. And so I have had wrestlers over the years where it's their choice, not mine, and they hire me as a coach. I can tell them no. I try to explain no, but it's their decision to get to that weight class. And so now my job as a coach is to make sure they do it as safely as possible. But extreme caloric deficits and using the sauna suits and losing water weight to get down to a certain weight, it's just not healthy. They're doing it for performance means only. We see this a lot in wrestling, we see this a lot in gymnastics, we see it a lot in weightlifting sports. Chances are these individuals know what they're doing and they know that it is not the healthiest way to get there, but they're getting to whatever that weight is because they need to for their given sport. We see this, we see a wrestler who's able to lose 20 pounds in a couple of weeks, and we think that, well, if they can do it, I can do it for my wedding. Number one, they're miserable. Number two, they're weak. Number three, their likelihood of injury, their likelihood of illness increases. Your body is basically falling apart because it needs calories in order to go about its daily tasks. This is both cognitive and physical in nature, and so how many of us know someone who has been trying to drop weight very, very quickly? They're sluggish, they're irritable, they're forgetful. So all of these negatives are stacking up against us. And then not to mention, you get to your big day, it's your wedding day, you wanna have a piece of cake, you step on the scale the next morning and you've gained 6 pounds back and you're convinced that you went from being super lean to now super fat. That's number one, not the case. Number two, we've done all that hard work for just one day of our life. We can get more on the serious side. Let's look at the epidemic that is body dysmorphia and self-image issues. I believe this is growing every year more and more. If we talk to clinical psychologists, dealing with body dysmorphia is one of the hardest things to get an individual to overcome. And so when we start having these inappropriate relationships with food or with exercise, it's a long, hard, and difficult journey out of that. So rather than saying I have to drop to a certain weight before a certain day, start setting more positive and more realistic goals. I would like to look good on my wedding day. I'm taking a number out of it. I'm taking the scale out of it. And then I would also suggest looking more long term. If I look like $1 million on my wedding day and then 5 years later I look like a bag of ass, I've done my spouse a great disservice. It's like the car salesman who really polishes up a car but doesn't show you what's under the hood, and a couple years later you're back looking for a new car, right? It's probably a terrible example, I don't care. Basically what I'm saying is stop focusing on a single day, stop trying to go in such a caloric deficit just for one event, and start focusing on what you're gonna do, things you're gonna put in place to, number one, establish healthy relationships with your food and your exercise routine, and number two, that are things that you can continue to do, not just for the next few months, but for the rest of your life. Speaking of longevity, oh, this is a hot take. Now I'm upset. I got myself upset. I think that the term longevity is misleading because we don't know what's gonna happen, meaning that coaches, personal trainers, we've really only been around for, in popularity, maybe the last 20 years, probably not even, maybe 15. And so we're saying do all these things for long-term health, but probably the bulk of our subjects, the people who have been training, we don't know what's happening yet. And so I hear like, do this exercise for long-term back health. Well, we don't know if that's actually helping or hindering years and years down the road. So when we say things like long-term or longevity, don't plan your entire exercise or nutrition plan around what's gonna happen 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now. We just don't have that information. What you should be doing is, what are things I'm doing now that I can enjoy for the next 10, 20, 30, 40, etc. years? I have a lot of clients who are facing the realization that they have to change the way that they're looking at their exercise and nutrition programs. I have some clients who are 50, 60, 70 years old. And so if they were long-term runners, and they no longer are feeling good about running, and it's just taking up too much time out of their day, they're switching their routines to find something that they enjoy. I had one lady, she really loved running marathons, and after all of these years, now with grandkids, she just no longer likes to do the long distance running. And so now she's switching over to more resistance-based exercise, and she enjoys it. It takes her 30 minutes versus an hour plus, and now she gets more time doing other things she loves. So I hope we can see sort of longevity means I'm finding enjoyment over my career of exercise and wellness, not necessarily what I'm doing today that's gonna have me around for the next 40 years. I'll get off my soapbox there. That would tick me off. I get more angry every video I do. Pretty soon I'm just gonna be shouting at you guys. Thanks for listening to me ramble. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, let us know. Drop something in the comment section below. Please, I always encourage you, reach out to one of our coaches at a local facility if you're interested in something at Powertrain, or head to our website, reach out to us. We can help any individual anywhere in the world with our remote coaching options. So.